Sometimes, a single photograph can unlock secrets that were meant to stay buried forever. This is the story of one such photo, a hiker's last snapshot that solved a mystery that had haunted the wilderness for over 2 decades. It was August 2021 when a seasoned hiker named Sarah Thompson decided to embark on an ambitious solo trek through the rugged Appalachian Mountains. Sarah had been hiking for years. She was an experienced outdoorswoman who thrived in the wild, someone who reveled in the silence and the solitude of the forests. But what she didn't know was that her journey would lead her to an ancient mystery, one that no one had been able to solve for 20 years. Sarah had planned her trip meticulously. She was going to hike a remote trail known as the Hidden Hollow Path, a secluded, difficult-to-navigate route that few hikers dared to attempt. The trail was steep, winding through dense woods and across treacherous cliffs, making it a challenge, even for the most seasoned adventurers. But Sarah was no stranger to danger. She was confident that she could handle it. For the first 2 days of her hike, everything went according to plan. The trail was beautiful, shrouded in mist, dotted with moss-covered rocks and rushing streams. Sarah took photos, made notes in her journal, and even posted updates on her social media. But on the 3rd day, things began to take an unsettling turn. On the morning of her 3rd day, Sarah set out early to cross a particularly difficult stretch of the trail, a section that had claimed the lives of several hikers in the past. The dense trees and the steep slopes made it almost impossible to see what lay ahead. As she navigated the narrow path, Sarah felt a strange sense of being watched, but she couldn't shake the feeling. The woods were always quiet, but today, there was an eerie stillness, a silence that seemed unnatural. Around noon, she took a break by a small, tranquil pond. It was there, by the water, that Sarah took her last photo, an image of the surrounding forest with the pond reflecting the sky above. The photo seemed peaceful at the time, just another snapshot of her adventure. But little did she know, this photo would become the key to unlocking a 20-year-old mystery. That night, Sarah didn't make contact with her family, as she had promised. When she missed her check-in the following morning, they started to worry. By the end of the 2nd day, with no word, her family alerted the authorities. A search party was quickly dispatched to find Sarah, but despite combing the area, there was no trace of her. Her tent was found undisturbed, her backpack missing, and her phone dead. The search continued for days, but with no luck. There were no footprints, no signs of a struggle, no indication of where Sarah might have gone. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. 2 weeks later, after the search had been called off, something strange happened. A group of hikers, about a mile away from where Sarah had been last seen, discovered a camera on the ground. It was Sarah's camera, the one she had been using to document her journey. When the police analyzed the camera, they discovered that the last photo taken was the one by the pond, the serene image she had snapped before vanishing. But what made this discovery even more chilling was that, upon closer inspection of the photo, they noticed something unusual in the backgrounds that hadn't been there before. In the distance, hidden among the trees, was the faint outline of a person. The figure was partially obscured by the foliage, but there was no mistaking the shape. It was a man, standing perfectly still, staring directly at the camera. His face was hidden in shadow, but the image sent a chill down the spines of everyone who saw it. At first, investigators thought it could be a trick of the light or a shadow cast by the trees. But the more they examined the photo, the more they realized something disturbing. The figure in the photo wasn't just some random hiker. This man had been missing for 20 years. The man in the photo was identified as Danny Curtis, a young hiker who had disappeared in the same area 2 decades earlier. Danny had been an avid adventurer, just like Sarah, but in 2001, he had set off on a solo hike in the same region and had never returned. His disappearance had baffled authorities for years. There had been no clues, no evidence, and no witnesses. It was as if he had just vanished into the wilderness. At the time of his disappearance, the search had been one of the largest in Appalachian history, but they found nothing. There were no remains, no belongings, and no trace of Danny anywhere. His case had gone cold, and he had been declared presumed dead. But now, it seemed that Danny's fate had been tied to Sarah's disappearance. Upon further investigation, authorities realized that the location where Sarah had taken her last photo was eerily close to where Danny had vanished. The figure in the photo, standing behind the trees, was most likely Danny alive, or something else entirely. But what had happened to him? And why was he still wandering the same trail after all these years? The mystery deepened as experts analyzed the area. They discovered an old, hidden cabin just off the trail, well beyond the boundaries of the main path. It was abandoned, but it seemed to have been inhabited at some point in the past. Inside, they found old maps of the region, journals, and a strange assortment of survival gear. But the most chilling discovery was a set of footprints leading away from the cabin, footprints that matched Danny's size exactly. The theory now was that Danny hadn't died, but had somehow survived in the wilderness all these years. And somehow, he had become part of the very forest he had loved so much. Sarah's disappearance remains unsolved. Some believe she was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, that she had stumbled upon Danny or whatever he had become. Others think that the forest, with its eerie silence and strange occurrences, is somehow connected to Danny's survival and Sarah's vanishing. As for Danny, some say he never really left the forest, that he had become one with the land, trapped in the wilderness for reasons no one can understand. But one thing is for sure, Sarah's last photo didn't just capture the beauty of the wilderness, it captured a secret that had been buried for 2 decades, and that secret may never fully be understood. If you found this story chilling, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. And next time you take a hike, be careful. You never know who or what you might encounter in the woods.